Episode 285, Exercise. Trade expectation for appreciation and your world changes instantly.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
And we are closing yet another week with yet another exercise you don't have to get off of your ass for. Welcome to the very best podcast in the world, your only source in the universe for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can hear that I'm a little bit nasal in my speaking. The reason for that is that it's fireplace time of the year, and that, the dry air kind of gets to your, into your nasal cavities and that kind of icky stuff, and it makes you speak, until you get used to it, a bit weird. But that's not to keep us from today's exercise, the title of which was blatantly stolen, at least it is attributed to Tony Robbins. And since he's such a great wallet rapist, I thought, hey, what the hell? Let's go with this, because it's very interesting to make that transition from, having all of the expectations towards life. Life owes you everything. It's your birthright, and you are entitled to the ultimate amount of money that can ever be amassed upon a pile, etc., blah, blah, blah. While fact of the matter is, there are some basics you should be pretty fucking grateful for. You're alive, more likely than not. If you're listening to this, you probably got a roof over your head, implying that you're listening to this probably on a mobile device, and more likely than not, you're going to be healthy. And you're going to have food in the fridge and, that kind of ordeal, right? And everything that comes on top of that, that's really expectations, and to kind of clear that out and to really focus upon gratitude more than greed, I thought, we would go and turn this great quote into a Friday's exercise. So before we do that, though, we're going to briefly whisk through our housekeeping chores. Item number one of which is always sharing is caring, meaning that share this content far and wide so that your friends, families, folks, followers, whatever, don't fall victim to the wallet rapists. Item number two is that the views expressed herein are my own and do not and will not ever represent the views, much more conservative views of past employers. And since I'm not going to have any employers in the future, more likely than not, it won't reflect those either. So now that we got that covered, what's last but not least, item number three, remodeling mode still going on a bit. It's shallowed down significantly. The weather is getting shittier, but it is left to clear up the porches and the garden and the yard and that kind of ordeal. So the episodes are going to be a bit shorter, a bit more concise, but still deliver the same amount of quality that you have become accustomed to here at the very best podcast in the world. Now, before we get started, I think we need to define, I briefly went into it, the difference between appreciation and expectation. Now, again, there are certain basics which you should in any case be appreciative of because they are not given. And a lot of us really take them for, granted, because it's your birthright, right? To have a roof over your head and, to live a safe and comfortable life in a decent abode and with food in the fridge and running water and 24/7 electricity and, that kind of ordeal. That's granted, that's given to us by the universe, right? Well, it's not. The liberties that we have, particularly in the Western world, many millions, potentially even billions of people have paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to be living in such a long, uninterrupted world of peace, right? A lot has been contributed to, making this world so safe, so stable, so wealthy, for decades. At least, since I was born, there haven't been any major global conflicts. Yes, there has been a small economic turmoil here and there, but overall, we're doing pretty fucking dandy, in comparison to the poor souls who, made that aforementioned ultimate sacrifice to give us the rights that we have. And that's why we've become the society we have become, where, personal rights can be taken away very easily. And there's not a lot of protest going on because it's for the sake of blah. And, we've been forgetting the sacrifices that were made, and we're taking too many things for granted instead of being appreciative of them. And we instead move towards expectations, having this 24/7 electricity thing, for instance. That's taken for granted, but there's shitloads of work that goes into maintaining the networks, maintaining the power plants, pushing innovation, and so on and so forth to give us that, seemingly taken for granted privilege of having electricity whenever we put the fucking light switch on, the light bulb goes on. That's not a given, right? In many parts of the world, nothing is further from the truth. But, particularly we in the West have become so accustomed to it that we take it for granted. We're not appreciative of the fact anymore that, the amount of manpower and man hours go into delivering electricity to our homes, and the entire global supply chain with all its complexities and nooks and crannies and whatever there is that I can't even begin to fathom. Wow. So that you can have your blueberries from Peru or Chile at your supermarket, even at the discount supermarkets, at a price that seems to be unbeatable. That shit's got to be flown throughout the whole world, or that you can have bananas from Costa Rica anytime you want them. That's not a given, that's far from the truth. There's a lot of effort, a lot of labor that goes into creating those fruits, the vegetables that are there for us always, pretty much, throughout the year. And that's something where I think appreciation is in order, and that's why I really wanted to dedicate an episode to it. Now, we live in a time where, it's like we never have enough. But what is enough in life, right? That's a question I had to ask myself very seriously a few years back when I was about to make the decision to pull the plug on my career. Well, not entirely, but, to step down from actively recruiting clients and, having all that shit. Now I do interesting projects that are fun and I'm okay. I'm okay. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a very good health insurance plan. I've got food in the fridge and we're all happy as a clam in the family. There are people who are much less fortunate. Now, there are those who may be more fortunate, but at the end of the day, I don't really want to see people, so I don't need to impress anyone with clothes or, cars or whatever. The people who want to come here to our little secret escape in the middle of buttfuck Germany are always welcome, and that's where we dedicate most of our assets and time towards, is maintaining this, making this our haven of peace in an increasingly chaotic world. And so the first part of this exercise is really to write down what is enough for you personally, right? Where can you technically pull the plug, and what do you need to actually survive? That's something to think about, perhaps even to write down, right? So what do you chase? What do you aspire above the things that I mentioned, right? Roof over your head, health, happiness, food in the fridge that, you can easily afford, and so on and so forth. What are you chasing above that? What do you aspire, right? And on the other hand, what are you grateful for? What are you not grateful, right? With, what are you not grateful for with having, where do you want to go? More importantly, though, what are you grateful for? Are you grateful for any of the stuff that I mentioned? Are you really appreciative that you live in a world like you live it today? Where you don't have to be afraid of being shot around the street corner or anything of that. That's something to think about, whether maybe, you're setting your priorities wrong, right? So what I need you to do in this episode, and don't worry, you don't need to get, off of the couch, as always. You can easily stay there, is to list all the things you are blessed with, right? And don't take anything for granted, right? I mentioned earlier, roof over your head, food in the fridge, health, family, everybody happy, and then ask yourself the question, where do your expectations lie, right? Write that on another sheet of paper. And more importantly, though, who owes you, right? Have you worked hard enough? Or is there, more you can do, increase your efficiency, right? And because what you're doing with expectations is you're throwing your fist at the world and saying, I am better than the rest of the world, and therefore I deserve a Porsche or a Lambo or a private jet or a villa in I don't know where, But have you done everything in your power to make that dream, that expectation become real, to become reality? Right? Have you done everything? Or, are you in a position where you're like, those are expectations, but they're so far away. I'd rather maintain my status and work on expanding my status, right? Get a nicer home, improve my home, get better food in the fridge to increase the quality of my diet to extend my life. Go back to the longevity episode. It's insanely important. You're working your ass off and you're dead at 70. What's the point, right? So enough said, I think, about that. Let's get down to the point, right? Some core questions, some core takeaways here are, what are you grateful for? And why are you not grateful with what you have? Right? Those are important questions. Write them down, answer them for yourself, not for my sake. Right? I'm good. Thank you very much. But what are you grateful for, and why are you not grateful with what you have? Right? And towards expectations, what are those expectations? How old are those expectations? How old are your dreams, your visions, your, whatever? Chances are, if you've been sitting around on them for 10 years, you're not going to make them fly in the next 10. Face it, then focus on the status quo and expanding that, rather than having these, dreams, visions of the future, which are, nothing more than clouds in the sky. They pass that quickly, right? Then, it's about forgetting about all of your expectations and getting back to the point of appreciation, right? And then starting to focus on that again, and then kind of expanding upon that. Now I'm starting to notice that My thoughts here are very difficult, so I hope it's easy for you to follow what the goal of this exercise really is, right? What are you grateful for? Why are you not grateful for what you have? That's where your expectations result. And then go back to the gratitude, the appreciation aspect. And then you're in a position where the circle closes, the loop closes, and you'll be able to draw from that you're actually doing pretty fucking good. And that's when your world starts to change. Period. There, I think I communicated the takeaway pretty clearly. If you have questions, as always, please write to the very best podcast in the world at gmail.com. Please remember to share this content with your friends, family, folks, followers, so that they don't fall victim to the wallet rapists. Have a nice weekend. Leave your hands above the blanket, and we'll be back in touch on Monday. See you soon, folks. Stay safe. Bye-bye.